Hey there everyone, it is MisterStubstep and I'm back with another TCGPlayer video. In this video, I actually will have a bunch of other single purchases that I made. Just they're a little bit smaller and they're recent, so I'm just gonna get them over with. And then in the meantime, after the little intro where I show my miscellaneous single pickups, I'll be catching up on more TCGPlayer stuff. So I do have a TCGPlayer order right here, but I have some other stuff to go over. So first, I'm going to go over maybe my worst experience ever on TCGPlayer so far. I ordered a moderately played Tornadus full art from Emerging Powers, the black and white set. And at first glance, you're like, oh, you know, maybe this is moderately played. I mean, you can see some creases, and like the way this hollow is, it's kind of difficult to see imperfections, which I kind of understand. And the way that TCGPlayer's new conditions are worded, you're just like, oh my gosh. Like, I guess you could argue, but then, let me hear your judgment. All right, moderately played. I'm gonna shine the light on this. See that? Okay, okay. See the bottom, the top, the edges. I mean, the edges are pretty poor. You see creases. Now let's flip it around. Now, what do you think when you see that? What do you think? You think that's moderately played? Let me know down below how you would categorize this card. And keep in mind, in their verbiage within their conditioning standard guide, if a card has any hollow foil, you should default to a lesser quality. If you have to like err, you would want to err on the side of caution. For non-hollow cards, there's a little bit more leniency, but for hollow cards, they recommend to go to a lesser like condition standard. So like, for example, if it's lightly played, but the hollow's pretty jacked up, they recommend, hey, sell it as moderately played. So did the seller do me wrong? It was only a $3.50 card. I'm gonna end up sending it back to them because that was the first thing that they said when I reached out. They're like, oh, just send it back. I'll give you a full refund. And it's like, So that is one way. They're technically not wrong if they do it that way. If they do it that way, that's completely fine. How I think the best sellers and shops have done it in the past. If they send you a card and the condition's wrong, you send them photos or something. Of course, you know, if they want to see proof, they're within their right to see proof, because then you could just, you know, bluff and get money back and not ever have to, and then you keep the cards or whatever. They'll send a partial refund, a full refund, or they'll realize, hey, that was jacked up. We actually have the proper condition card. We'll send that out to you. You can just keep the old one, or you have to send it back, whatever. I think that's a good way of doing business. These, I reached out to them via customer service. They immediately were like, oh yeah, I have brought TCGPlayer on this, so they're tracking the situation. One, unless the way that TCGPlayer rolls, maybe their system has changed, but in the past, you would want to work things out at the lowest level. Like, hey, seller to buyer, this is my issue, you know, can we come to terms? If not, or if someone's trying to screw somebody else, then it escalates. But this person immediately was like, oh yeah, TCGPlayer's in on this. Once again, $3.50 card. I normally wouldn't blow things out of proportion, but I just think that is so misrepresented as far as selling that as moderately played. That's my opinion. Let me know your opinion down below. Let me know if I'm being the a-hole in this case. I have no idea. I don't think I am. I've purchased probably almost 1,000 cards on TCGPlayer, dealt with probably over 100 different sellers, and this is probably the worst experience that I've had so far. It was one of the big ones, had 10,000 plus sales, but I guess I need to start looking at the negative reviews more often, because if you looked at the negative reviews, you can see trends, and I'm like, I could have caught this. So, sorry, that was my little rant for today. I should have mentioned it at the beginning, so you could have skipped it, but yeah, that was my little rant, my TCGPlayer seller rant. So just, you know, be cool people, be cool people. But I went through the decades, my local LGS, and based on that, you could probably figure out I'm trying to complete another master set, the worst set of all time, black and white Emerging Powers. And the most expensive cards in the set are the Tornadus and the Thunderous. They're the full arts, and they both go for like less than $5 or something, or at least less than $10, but they're extremely cheap in like lesser conditions. I got all these cards. This is 120 cards from the set. I had only 3 common cards from the set. The only cards of Emerging Powers that I've opened is one of the sample packs, which came with 3 commons. It came out like before the set, so like give people a taste of the set. And they're pretty cool packs, but you never get anything good in them. So literally this entire set I'm buying from like the ground up, except for those 3 common cards. So got these 120. They were overall $60. So that means I paid 50 cents per card. And you're probably like 50 cents. I mean, there's some hollows in here. There's some decent stuff. There's some exclusives. Like this isn't worth anything, but I always thought the Pokemon League with that Cross Hatch freaking hollow is sick. But dang it, sorry, these are like really, it's when they're all sleeves, it's really hard to go through them properly and then not blind y'all also. But I'll just go through these really quick. They're on average 1 second. Sorry, I was blinding y'all like crazy, so I lowered the brightness level on that. But when I complete the master set of this, of course, I'll go into the artworks way more in depth, but I didn't want to bore you guys with a bunch of comments and stuff. There are some cool ones in here. If any were worth money, I kind of went through those holos in the beginning pretty fast, but if anything are worth over $1, I'll try to have notated it down below. And if you see like a holo that's like, oh, that's really nice, that's definitely worth over $1. It's probably not in the best condition. I would say on average, I would say like 60% of these are like lightly played, and then the other 40%, or like 50% lightly played, 30% moderately played, and then there's like 10% that are near mint, and then 10% that are like heavily played or damaged. The black and white holo, I used to hate it, but it's starting to grow on me. I still don't like it, but it's getting better. But yeah, so I would say I probably got at least like 60% of the cards within this set, because there's only 98 cards. You might think, wow, 50 cents for bulk is really expensive, but keep in mind, see that? 2011. These cards are over 10 years old now. So being able to go to a card shop, pull out all these singles. There were a lot of reverse holos taken already, and there is the elusive Crushing Hammer within this set, which I think that actually might be the most expensive card in this set, because of course it's a useful tool or item or whatever, trainer card in general, to disrupt decks and knock that energy out of here with a simple coin flip. But so I don't have every like numbered card yet, but I'm in the process. Ooh, favorite artist. But I'm in the process of collecting this, so probably in the near future, maybe hopefully by the end of January, maybe I'll have completed the set. And then yeah, you got some nice reverses in the end. A lot of these are some of the older versions of these trainer cards, so sometimes people will try to use these in their decks and everything. But that was my LGS pickup. Once again, $60 for 120 cards, 50 cents each. I know it's like, wow, that's super exact. To be honest, I think after tax it was like $63, so a little over 50 cents, but I thought that was pretty negligible. And then finally, before we get into the TCG player portion, I know probably the majority of this video is non-TCG player except for that, but I did get my final Kirlia card that I needed for my master set. So all of the current, well, okay. Technically, I haven't pulled the ones from Astral Radiance or Silver Tempest, but I know those are going to be super easily accessible. This was like the last super hard one to get. So this is the Dragon Frontiers equivalent of this Kirlia. This was originally printed in EX Sandstorm and then printed in some other stuff. And then there's one with this set symbol, and then there's the other one that's like the cross set symbol. And I had this in first edition, but I didn't have an unlimited. This is in terrible condition. Like definitely, I would label this as damaged, even though it's non-holo. But this is the only time I've ever seen it for sale, except for there was one other lot that had it for sale, but they were selling it with like 50 other cards, and it was like $60. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not paying $60 for this card. But I found it on Buyee, and oh, that's another tidbit I wanted to give you guys. Found this in Buyee. You know how if you've shopped on Buyee before, oh look, another Kirlia, nice. If you have ever shopped on Buyee, they give you that protection option, and you feel like, man, these fees and the shipping, because they, you know, they start out how Buyee does it, like buy it on your behalf, because you can't really purchase stuff from Japan like direct or whatever. You have to have like somebody, a vendor that's there, buy it, and then they can send it to you from there. So they have these cards at sellers, and then it all gets shipped to like the central warehouse where they pack everything up and then they send it to you. And they have a bunch of fees and stuff along the way. I do have a Buyee video. I might like put it in the description, or you can like find it on my channel where I like explain the process of Buyee. But they have an option to add protection to your package. And I'm like, you know what? This card's already so damaged. Screw it. I don't want protection. You get no protection. They literally just throw these cards in an envelope, and then they threw it in another envelope, and that was the shipping. So yeah, luckily I wasn't getting anything too expensive, but I just thought it was kind of silly. When you pay for no protection, you ain't getting no protection. It's literally in an envelope, shuffling around in a massive envelope, and then put in another envelope. So lesson learned. But that final, probably the last difficult Kirlia card, like old school Kirlia card that I needed. All right, sorry, this has been a long video already. Now we can start with the TCG player portion of this. This is TCG 45. Once again, Mystery holding it down, labeling all these things wonderfully to make it super easy to just go back and knock all these videos out one by one and add it to my master sets. So let's see what we got today. We got Elima, full art from Sun and Moon. Should be able to finish that Sun and Moon base set very soon, because I think I have all the cards. We have the Aegislash, VMAX, Secret Rare, Rainbow Rare, Hyper Rare from Vivid Voltage with all the texture you're ever going to need. Ooh, see that? Almost looks like bones, but it's lines. Nice and slick. We have, oh my. We have the Secret Rare Metal Energy from Sun and Moon base. If you guys saw my grading video from, I think it was PSA, I did have that secret grass energy from Guardians Rising. That did get the 10, which was amazing. We have that Typhlosion A. Okay, I'm going to set these cards down now because we're starting to get into some heat. Got that Neogenesis Typhlosion. I don't think it's as good as the T17, but it's still really cool artwork. Let's just admire it. Look at that. And I think original Typhlosion is better than Hisuian Typhlosion. I respect the creativity, but I just wasn't feeling it. Let's look at that condition. Definitely pretty beat up. Definitely pretty beat up. I guess I should have shown the backs of all those. I'll do these really quick. Got a Lima, quick glance. Ooh, that actually has some surface stuff going on. Hopefully I'll have shown the condition down below. The Aegislash looking crispy, very clean. And then we have the Metal Energy, which, yeah, that looks pretty clean too. Let's go to the next card. We have the Lunala GX Full Art. I think this one was pretty cheap. A lot of texture, but purple on purple, I'm sorry. It's kind of hard to look at. Ooh, this one is, wow, those corners, I've seen better days. I just imagine this being like in a bulk box, just like swish, 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 swish. That's what I imagine when I see the corners like this. Or you like kind of see the backs, they look almost like dusty, but it's not dust. I just imagine them in a bulk box just switching around. Got the Espeon GX, more of that purple on purple or pink on pink. Yeah, Sun and Moon must be getting close to complete then. I know I tried to order all the cards while I was gone, and this one, you know, is not in the greatest condition either, but it's all right. Oh, man. We have the Meganium Holo. Is this the best Meganium card of all time? Let me know, because I really like it. You know, Chikorita is like, people argue is hard mode for Generation 2. Dang, that's a lot of scratching. But I always pick the grass starter. Chikorita was my selection, and it was a grind. It was a grind, because I remember, yeah, it was rough. But yeah, overall, I was actually expecting that package to be like really cruddy, and that's why I paired it with all of these other purchases that I made recently. But that was actually a fire TCG player video. That was a lot of really great cards. So thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you thought of my TCG woes, my last Kirlia edition, my black and white emerging power singles purchases, or my TCG player pickups. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I wish you guys the best of luck, and I wish you guys great times. Thank you.